Hey y'all, welcome back again. It's been a while, hasn't it? Looks like it's been about a month or so, maybe even. Oh no, Rose. Alright. Do you think? Alright, so basically, Path of Exile has released a new patch here, or is going to release. They were supposed to release it today. Looks like it's being released tomorrow instead. Whatever. The point is, the patch is supposed to bring a very interesting thing to the game, and it's supposed to bring new challenge leagues. Now, looks like they've introduced 8 challenges in those leagues, and if you get all 8 of them, you get a unique special t-shirt. Yeah, it's going to be awesome, and we're totally getting that t-shirt because t-shirts are awesome, and they go over your chest and protect it from burning or something. I don't know. Either way, point is, I want to talk a little bit about what you should expect if you plan on competing in one of these 1 month leagues with, say, a party or getting into the highest rated pug groups, which do exist for those if you haven't gotten into it yet. And basically a little bit about what we did in the week long that we all participated in with me and some people that I know that I play with regularly, and how we went about going ahead and achieving the rank that we did here. So that was back in the week long. It was the Easter break week long. So we had some Easter family things. Some of us had some work issues we had. So we certainly weren't playing 24/7. But we still managed to, 3 of the 5 of us managed to get into the top 20. One of us died, and one of us had to go ahead and do things for like half the day on the last day of the race, which is the most important day. It's the day you're getting the most experience, you're powering through the maps, you're burning all of your currency, and it just wasn't a good day for that particular person to be gone. And what was worse was they were also the person that was going ahead and running the Magic Find set, which is pretty important if you're doing that. Now, people weren't really running Magic Find back then at that particular time. I'm sure there were people who were, but it wasn't super common. But it turns out that it's one of the most important things to do if you are participating in a very long league like that. It's very important to go ahead and run Magic Find then. And it's important because gear is a measurement of your survival and your damage, which is a measurement of your clear speed. So if you clear faster, you're getting more gear, you're getting more damage, you're getting more drops, you're getting more loot, you're getting more maps, and you're getting more experience. And those are all very interesting things to get if you're trying to compete in a race, because what it does is it basically just makes you climb the ladder really fast. It makes your playtime more efficient, and it makes you feel better about yourself. So basically, any group that's running competitively or efficiently is going to want to have a Magic Find character because it pretty much is the best stat in the game. The problem is that Magic Find has the problem of making your character very hard to build around. For instance, this character has Calling Strike, which makes it an ideal Magic Find character, but it's really hard to kill things. It has a few downsides. You'll see here, looks like I'm trying to fight through this Necro, which is annoying. But the problem with Magic Find is that you have to gear for it a certain way, and it's hard to actually get damage out of most builds that can utilize it. I can't actually sacrifice damage, or I lose the ability to clear things. So there are a few builds that manage to do Magic Find pretty well, and those builds are the minion builds. There are a few others. You can sacrifice all of your damage on a character like this if you just want to link like LMP chain onto Power Siphon, along with like increased quantity, increased rarity, and then pick up like Conduit and run Frenzy, and then power charges, and then you can just spend the entire time just supporting the group. Maybe pick up Triple Curse, grab a Doge Raise, spec into Endless Whispers and Double Curse. Then you would be the ultimate support character, and that would be really something a party would be looking for a lot. Now, quantity and rarity is the most important thing that you can have if you are looking to be a support character in a party. And it's one of the most important things that parties are looking for. Most of the high-rated pugs will pretty much take anyone if they have a lot of quality and rarity. So support gems, gear, all that. And that's because it just dramatically increases the rate at which the party gains experience because they're getting better loot, they can handle better maps, they deal more damage, and they don't have to worry about as much stuff because they have more health. Just because their gear is that much better, because they're getting a lot more of it. So it's one of the most desirable stats in a pug group. So that's number one. If you're going to make a character with the intent of getting into a public party that is running high-level maps, it's usually a safe bet that you can get into them by running quantity and rarity. And a lot of people figured that out in the month-long. Quantity and rarity became very valuable in the most recent month-long race, more so than it's been in the previous week-long races, which is really, really awesome because it shows that people are beginning to realize the value of the stat, especially in hardcore. So otherwise, there are a few other things that parties need to function, but aren't necessarily that crucial, which are interesting to consider if you're going to make a character and you don't want a magic find. One of the best things for a party to have in terms of hardcore and possibly even default, or I suppose they're calling it standard after the patch, would be to have some kind of triple curse character or more, I suppose. Because anyone can run one curse, but curses have such a huge impact on the game that having multiple curses just causes the party to clear so much faster and be so much more efficient. So when you're talking about curses, you can run in hardcore, you can run Enfeeble and Temporal Chains, in addition to a damage curse like Elemental Weakness. And that basically turns every map into a level 66 map in terms of difficulty, which makes it really, really easy to clear the map. It's incredibly safe to run the really, really high-level maps. Save like Crematorium Vol or Crematorium Fire Fury would still be pretty deadly. Otherwise, though, for the most part, it makes pretty much every map fairly scary. We had a really, really messed up map where we ended up having like minus max resistances. The entire room was fire crematorium. It was insane. We should not have been running that map. No way. But because we managed to have those, we barely managed to scrape through a map that ended up giving us a really, really good drop. I think we managed to get a 75 map off of that one, a Necropolis off that map. So that was very, very nice. And we wouldn't have run that unless we had Triple Curse. So because we had that, we managed to pull farther ahead than we would have normally, and we managed to get off to a pretty good start there. So that is the benefit of having triple curses. A lot of parties really, really look for triple curses from players because it's a really, really good thing. It manages to increase the damage of the party by a lot. If you're playing standard, it manages to increase the survivability by a lot if you're not. And in general, it's just a good thing to have. Otherwise, if you're looking for a support character, I want to talk about power charges, frenzy charges, and endurance charges next. Alright, so it's pretty hard to get everything except endurance charges. And Enduring Cry is really, really annoying to use. I don't like the ability. But it does have the interesting effect of making Conduit a very, very valuable skill. Alright, if you didn't know, Conduit allows you to share power charges with nearby party members. I'm using Nocturnal Caresses here. I'm not in a party. This is useless for me right now. I'm just using it to prove a point here. So it shows an interesting thing where you happen to see that power charges cause a really big damage increase. Frenzy charges cause really big damage increase, but it's really, really hard to get them. You need to give up a gem slot for power charges, and it's really, really hard to even utilize the gem because it's kind of a little situational. You can't really support the gem until you have power charges rolling, so you almost need, like, I've put power charge and crit on my frenzy so that when I switch over to frenzy I can maintain my power charges, and even then they tend to fall off when I'm doing single target damage. So it's a really situational gem. So really the only like good reliable way to get power charges is through Power Siphon. And that ability is very situational. It's a wand ability, so you have to be either a physical wand or an elemental wand character, or not care about your damage, I suppose, in order to effectively use it. Which brings about the interesting thing of nobody actually using it. So having a character that is able to share power charges with the party is a great benefit because it increases the damage by a lot. Same with frenzy charges. It requires a ranged weapon. Some spellcasters don't think it's worth it to use it. I don't think it's worth it to use it if you're not actually like benefiting from the attack speed yourself. But if you get it for free, a lot of parties aren't going to turn that down. So because charges are so hard to get, they're fairly valuable to a party because not a lot of people have them. Otherwise, another thing that parties really, really need is someone to shock stack for them. Now, normally, shock stacking isn't a problem, but they are nerfing Spark Totems, so I have a sneaking suspicion that shock stacking might become a little more rare than it used to be in these races, so maybe shock stacking might be a commodity. It's certainly something that's required from a party to be able to effectively farm, just because it increases damage by so much. So the character I'm playing now is a wand character. It deals a lot of damage. It brings conduit charges to the party, which is very, very nice. And that's basically the purpose of the character. I can slap on a different colored 5-link if I want to go ahead and farm. So I can slap on increased quantity, rarity into the gem slots, deal no damage, but instead have the ability to calling strike everything for lots and lots of loot. And then I can put on rings and stuff, and that basically just turns me into a farm engine for the rest of the party, which is really nice if people aren't able to log on. That's kind of what I made the character for, was to be able to switch at will to some kind of a magic find set. Character's not quite there yet, but so that includes magic finding and charges, and I can't really shock stack if I'm doing that, but if I decide to give up the magic find part, certainly I can shock stack. I do a pretty good job of it. So I cover at least 2 of those things with this build, which makes me reasonably desirable to a party where I need to find one. But other than that, I'm going to have to play Tetris here. I don't care about that one. Alright. So, other than that, there is the seemingly interesting preconception that seemingly having lots of auras will make you desirable to a party. And that's not really true. The problem with having lots of auras is that typically people who run auras, or want auras, or benefit from auras, will already be running the ones that they benefit from. The big one that people need but can't run sometimes is determination. And that's usually because they're running blood magic, or it's like the last aura they get and they're not there yet. Haste is another big one that really benefits people and isn't necessarily the best thing in the world to run first. You need things like purity first. So haste and determination are good auras to have, but people will usually have them in the party. Otherwise, typically if you're building a support character, you won't be the only one with haste. And leadership's a little bit out of the way for most builds. It's not really worth it to get leadership. So running a character that supports auras and does a very good job of having lots of auras on typically won't get you into a party, because you don't really fill the role of anybody not already in the party. Everything you're doing is already covered by somebody else, typically. So if you really want to build a support character, or a character that's very appealing to a public party, certainly the way isn't to go with auras. It's to go with some sort of conduit power charges, triple curse, or lots of magic find. And certainly, there are lots of really effective builds that include these things that are also fun to play, are also really, really good at farming. You're certainly not hindering your character by making a build like this, but certainly if you are interested in providing the best for your party, that is definitely the way to go, in my honest opinion. Other than that, I think that there are a lot of very, very interesting builds that will be coming up. If you have just a general way to meat shield for the party, that's also very valuable to a party, and lots of people certainly appreciate that. The old Freezing Pulse build was very good for this because it caused the enemies to be frozen or to not attack for a while. Minion builds are very good at this because they just cause the minions to get in the way of the damage and soak it. So those are certainly things that are very, very valuable to a party if you want to make something like that. Otherwise, there are just lots of builds that can just take a lot of damage that are really fun to play too. So there are certainly a lot of really, really fun, really viable builds that are also really wanted by a party. And certainly if you're making a party and you're looking to build a group, including those things is a really good way to just get ahead of what you'd normally be doing in just a random pickup group, organizing something that includes triple curse, some kind of conduit charges, some kind of magic find, shock stacks, some kind of damage soak, something like that. That will get your party a long way by having all of those things. So there are just some thoughts on the upcoming leagues, on things that you can certainly do to prepare if you're looking forward to the leagues and looking forward to making builds and kind of want to get into the grinding game in the new league, want to get that t-shirt, want to be very efficient with what you're doing in the high-level mapping stuff, then certainly getting into a public group or building a party around those things is a very, very good way to go, and it will get you very, very far, as I'm sure you understand. So those are just my thoughts on the partying experience in Path of Exile and the high-end mapping environments, and what I think is good in a party, and what I think is not so good to build for. So certainly, if you plan on it, I hope you found that part of the video enjoyable. I'm just going to wrap this up here quickly then. The Path of Exile portion of the video is over. I do want to talk about a few things that I've been doing outside of that, so if you only care about the Path of Exile stuff, then just go ahead and turn off the video. Okay, good. All of the losers have left. Alright, awesome. Okay, so I did want to talk a little bit of personal stuff here quick. I have been busy for the past month. I do apologize for that. It's my fault. I let priorities get a little out of hand. So that's all good and fixed up in that department. But what I did do in that downtime, I didn't really have a lot of time to play a game like Path of Exile seriously between then, but I did end up opening up a second YouTube account for the sake of posting commentaries and general nonsense about games, just for the sake of having some place to vent and talk and yell at a screen for who knows how long, for no apparent reason. Just because I like talking, I like doing these. I do enjoy the explanatory side of things, giving guide advice, giving my opinions on stuff, giving builds, and all that sort of stuff, but I do also enjoy just kind of talking and having fun and hanging out and enjoying myself. So that secondary account is for that kind of stuff. I figured it was better because I've kind of set up an expectation of kind of a guide environment here, which I like doing, but isn't really befitting of just random talking at a screen as I play a video game for 10, 20, 30 minutes. So I went ahead and opened up that video. I'll include it in the comments if you're interested in checking that out. If you just want to see it for the sake of entertainment, by all means check that out. And if you're only interested in the Path of Exile stuff, then by all means just stick around and I'll upload more of that too here. So that's what's been going on lately. Things have been busy, and if you enjoyed the video, certainly I'm glad that it helped you, and I thank you for watching. So until next time, bye.